Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cait. For those that don't know me, I am a master's student in literature and arts at the University of Oxford, and I need to complete a PhD proposal. So I thought I'd take you along with me and show you how to complete a PhD proposal. I actually just can't believe that I'm saying those words. It just seems absolutely crazy that I am applying for a PhD for next year after jumping back into academia, and I'm so excited. So for those that follow me on Instagram, you would have seen that I met with a potential PhD supervisor. Was it about a week or two ago, and that potential supervisor was super helpful in talking me through sort of what the proposal needs to contain. They were also kind enough to comment on the rough draft proposal that I had sent through with a whole lot of ideas. So I'm going to start incorporating those ideas into my Scrintal PhD proposal board. So for those that have been here before, you know that I use the application Scrintal all the time for my essays, for my research papers, and I have been using it for my research proposal. Scrintal has recently updated their application. They've recently launched their new playground for the mind, their new boards, their new documents. And I've been playing around with these new features in the Scrintal application, and I'm so excited to show you how this has worked so well for my research proposal. Ultimately, I use Scrintal primarily for mind mapping and brainstorming ideas, but I have recently started using it, as I say, for documents like my research proposal or documents like my PhD proposal, because I have found that it is able to incorporate things like documents, PDFs, images that all come together to create a unique and linked archive that I have never worked with before. And to that effect, I actually think if you guys have watched my channel before, I am using it a lot more than I used to use Notion in the past. And I actually think that when I get a bit of time, I want to transport my second brain into Scrintal, but that might be another video. So if that's something that you are interested in, definitely stick around, like this video, subscribe to my channel, because it will be coming down the line. I've always loved using these boards in Scrintal, as I say, for like brainstorming sides of things, but now that Scrintal supports this rich text editing within a single archive, I feel like it combines all that I need in order to actually create a succinct, flowed PhD proposal. So all that being said, let's dive into it and let me show you how I am formulating my PhD proposal. All right, my friends. So we've shifted to the screen recording part of the video. I have on my screen now my PhD proposal mind map, and this is in the new Scrintal boards, and I just think they look so cool. It's still the same structure as the previous Scrintal boards that we have, but as you can see here, like the icons are all new and different, and the most exciting one is the create new documents icon, for me at least, because what I am able to do is then bring in a new document where I can link it to like a key concept. So essentially what I am planning on creating here is building out my proposal in a mind map form, and then being able to transport these ideas into a document that I can then send on. But this is just so helpful to me to organize my thoughts and my processes. So is what it currently looks like. This is the structure of how I've delivered it. I've got my problem statement, what I want to do with the fairy queen, And then I've got my literature review, and I've got my approach or my methodology. Goodness, I don't know why I struggle to say that so much. Methodology. And these are kind of your cornerstones of your research proposal. You'll obviously have to build them out so much more as we kind of go ahead. There's actually quite a few sections to a research proposal that you need to include. I'll talk about those in a bit more detail. So there are actually quite a few sections to a research proposal that you need to include, and I am going to be pulling in those sections now into the mind map so that I can ensure that I'm hitting all of those main sections. But I am going to kind of be framing them under these 3 banners. So the first thing that I need to have is a title. So I'm going to create a new block, and this is going to be my title. And I've got a rough title that I want to talk about. So, I've got that as my title. Make it bold. I can even make this a heading. Let's see. Yeah, I like that. Okay, great. So first point done. Then we need an introduction with some templated wording that I have been using and that I do use as a part of my admissions program at Accepted Society. So if you are in the process of admissions or the process of applications and you're looking for an admissions consultant, please do check out Accepted. I run a admissions program called Key to Accepted every so often, and I will leave the link for that in the description box below. But I'm going to create my introductory paragraph, and I'm actually going to create it as a document. I'm going to link it right here. And this is going to be my introduction paragraph based on the template that I have. And now what I can do is I can open this up, and you'll see this is very, very similar to how they had sort of their cards, but this is specifically now a document card, which is so, so helpful. So now I have my introductory paragraph based on the template that we use for the Accepted Admissions program. There are a couple of things that I need to fill out here, so I'm just going to be highlighting those because I need to come back to them. Perfect. So that's my introductory paragraph over here, and it is the first start to my research proposal, which is just so, so great. So I love that I am able to then use these boards or use these document cards to then link to particular things. So I can draw a connector from this document to this first point here. I can change out the colors of them. I can make it a dash, so instead of it being like a defined thing, I can also link it to these kinds of cards. I can link it to other connectors. It's just amazing, the versatility and the ideas that you can get from these kind of things. I believe you can even change the arrows around so that there are like double arrows or straight arrows, or arrows from each side, which is just fantastic. So I really, really like this visual representation of that. This is what we've got so far. We've got our introduction. We are going to do our literature review. Now, what I wanted to do for the literature review is divide my literature review into key concepts, which is why I've got these key concept spaces here. So there are quite a few key concepts that I need to fill out. So I'm going to go ahead and fill those out now and then come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, so I have taken the time to pull in all the information that I need to in my mind map. And I'm just going to talk you through all of the bits that I've kind of pulled together and show you how I have formulated it so that I have this complete picture of what my research proposal is supposed to look like. So we've popped our title in at the top here. That's the first thing that we've needed to do. The next section that we need to have is an introduction. And as I mentioned, I have placed that in our Accepted Society template. So I have written that out and I've got that in here, and it still needs a little bit of filling out, but I will spend some time doing that and filling that out. I've highlighted those sections that I need to create more information about. This all formulates a part of my problem statement section that I need for my PhD proposal. So I've divided this into 3 different sections: my problem statement section, my literature review section, my methodology section. And in my problem statement section, I'm also addressing what my objective is with my research. So I pulled that in there, and I've also pulled in an example here of one of the characters from the Fairy Queen. I'll build out this example in a little bit more detail, but I've also included what my sources, my primary sources, will be. I've also included a tiny little text box here where I want to define particular terms that I utilize in my research proposal. So I'll continue to pull those terms in this text box and have them sort of defined so that I check that I have actually defined those terms. So those are all of my problem statement sections that I'm going to talk about. Once we've done the problem statement sections, we are going to move on to the literature review, which you will focus on, where you will focus on the gaps that you've found in the literature that you've read for your research. Now, I've done a fair bit of reading, but I still have quite a bit of reading that I want to do to fill out my literature review section. But I basically subdivided my literature review into 3 different sections. And the first is understanding villainous females as a function of representations. So for example, I've pulled in a document section here, which is one of the new features of Scrintal, which I just think is so fantastic. So this is actually a separate document in my docs section of my Scrintal, which I think is so helpful. So I can open this up and expand this, and this is a separate document. So I can always cross-reference this across boards should I need to do so. The same thing with the next section of my literature review, which I've focused on the representations of Irish people and colonial imagery. And I'm really excited about the fact that I can stack documents on top of one another. So I have that sort of clear sense of which documents I'm building in, and the fact that I can collate them in this way and represent them in this way just provides a very easy flow. And it's really great that you can like move the documents around. So if you find as you're kind of writing it out that you think that, oh, this review is better placed here, then I can just move that around, and I find that really, really great. The next section that I've got in here is theories surrounding race and gender in the early modern era, and I have a number of sources in here that I want to expand on, that I want to read, but in the same way that I have notes from these particular readings, I am able to open up this document and start just putting in my notes directly into this document. And this is just what makes this so much more user-friendly, for me at least, is that I can collate different documents and different views into one particular space. So, for example, the notes that I've made around, let's say the notes that I've made around Andrew Murphy's The Irish Sea Betwixt Us, which is a book, I've made those notes externally and I can pull them in to this document and have them all here and just be able to use this as like a frame of reference for the points that I want to include. While I'm reading, I can collate my thoughts, and these documents are available and they are organized in a visually succinct manner, in a visually appealing manner. So that's my literature review. I still need to, as I say, focus a bit more on doing some reading and filling in certain parts of my literature review. And the same goes for my methodology and my approach that I'm taking to my PhD. So I do have, as you can see here, I've got some ideas. So what I've actually done in this space is I have this reading that I was looking at, and it referred to this reading in the article. And so I just created a subsequent document in the document that I was looking at and reading. And so now I'm able to just continue on, but while keeping those documents separate, it's actually super duper helpful for me to have that visual link or that visual representation without saying, oh, cited here or whatever the case may be. It's also going to be really, really helpful to eventually draw inferences like connectors from the methodology to, for example, some of the theories here. And it's very easy to make those connections with the connector links. And I just think that that makes it look so much more appealing, and it helps me to make connections between the different sources. And if I wanted to expand on that even further, it's very easy for me to include a text box here where I talk about the connection between my approach and the theory. And then I can detail that out, and I can use that as a form of creating those connection points. So just running through the sections that we need for a PhD proposal. We've got our title, we've got our introduction, we've got our literature review, we've got our objective, we've got our methodology, we've got our approach. We have got we've got specifics on how we will undertake the research that we are planning on doing, and we've got a list of primary sources that we will use. The only thing that I haven't included in here is why the PhD program that I'm applying to will suit my research, and that I haven't included in this specifically because that will need to be adapted for each PhD proposal that I draft up. And finally, the last thing that I don't have is a bibliography, but this is what I wanted to show you guys when it comes to the new features of Scrintal is, as I referred to, the documents section. These are all the documents that are linked in my PhD proposal, and some of these, if not all of them, are references to texts. I think that there is a way for me to easily look at this and write up my bibliography using whatever citation software or method that I prefer, but I am able to easily look at this and be able to check that I have included every single reference from my PhD proposal into my bibliography. And for me, that just makes this whole process so much more easier and just so much more visually organized and succinct, and I can clearly see the flow. I'm making sure that I'm making those connections across the different sections, but I'm also making sure that I'm hitting all the right marks that I need to. From this, it's going to be really, really easy for me to draft up my PhD proposal because I will have all of the information that I need in one singular archival board. And this is why I think something like Scrintal, especially the new boards that Scrintal has, is going to be so much more helpful for my second brain, for example. In the same way that you were able to in the last or in the previous version of Scrintal, you were able to include things like images, you were able to include things like embedded videos, and a lot of different medias in your brainstorming ideas and in your documents in a really seamless way. There will be a link in my description box that is offering a free trial for those that are coming from the Product Hunt Hub. This is a launch that is happening today, and it will be for a limited time only. So if you want to give Scrintal a try and give it a free trial, which they very rarely do, use the link in my description box below and give it a try for yourself. If you would like to give Scrintal a try, please do use the link in my description box and enjoy these amazing new features. So thank you so much for being here with me. I hope you found this video helpful. I hope that you will utilize some of these tips and tricks to develop your own PhD proposal or master's research proposal if that is something that you are working on at the moment. And I'll keep you all updated on my PhD journey on this channel as we go forward with it. Obviously, I still have a few months of master's left. I should finish up my master's dissertation September next year and then start PhD after that. But I'm very excited that I've gotten this process going. Obviously, with admissions processes, they start a lot earlier, but now I'm just rambling. And a big thank you to Scrintal for all they've done to support me and my channel. I really truly love working with them as a product, and I am so excited to see how much more I can achieve with their new boards, with their new playground for the mind. And yeah, just a big shout out to Scrintal as a company. Thank you so much, and thank you all for watching today's video. If you've enjoyed it, if you found it helpful, please give it a like, give it a comment, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all in the next one.